Well, I'm proud to be here with such a talented guy, Laurence Juber.
Well, thank you.
And I read something interesting, and you said that you were making money with your guitar at 13. You were playing in clubs?
No, I was playing, like, there was a local band leader who kind of musically adopted me. He was a trumpet player. In fact, he gave me an album, he lent me an album, an LP, by a pair of brothers, the LA studio players, the trumpet players called the Candoli Brothers. And the guitar player was Howard Roberts on this record. So that was the first time I'd like slow the record down to 16 RPM and kind of figure out what the licks were. And that was really when I understood that I could have a career as a guitar player. At that point, I was playing in top 40. I was playing in a top 40 band, which meant that I would be doing my homework on the band bass. You know, so I had my nylon string guitar, but I had a Stratocaster too.
I'm dying to ask if you remember. You must remember the moment when you were invited to play with Wings. That must have been quite a moment.
Yeah, it was. You know, I had been playing lead guitar on a TV show with an English pop star named David Essex. He had a big hit with a song called Rock On. And Denny Lane was a guest on the show, and Denny was in Wings with Paul and Linda McCartney. He was the core trio of Wings. And we did Go Now, which was an old Moody Blues hit that Denny had sung. And he liked my playing and had apparently recommended me to Paul, because about 6 months later, I got a call. I was actually working at Abbey Road in Studio 2, which is the kind of the legendary Beatles studio. And I had never actually got up to be in the control room, because when you were a studio musician, you were there, you know, kind of in the pit, as it were, and there's this long staircase that takes you up to the control room, and there's a phone call for me, so I go take this phone call, and it's the office, McCartney's office, wanting to know if I can come and jam on Monday with Denny, and oh, by the way, Paul and Linda will be there. So it was kind of a roundabout way of telling me I was coming in for an audition. And I kind of panicked because I didn't know any Wings tunes, and I borrowed some LPs from my brother over the weekend and couldn't really imagine what I was going to play with them, other than, the kind of the Band on the Run lick or whatever. But as it turned out, we did some Chuck Berry tunes and some reggae grooves, and then he said, "What are you doing for the next few years?" At which moment I had to think about it for at least a nanosecond, because I had worked, from the time I was 13. I had worked to become a studio musician, and that's what I was. I mean, I was working 7 days a week, sometimes 3-4 sessions a day. In that period in the late 70s, it was still before MIDI, before computers, and they needed musicians to play on things. Now, most records don't even have any live musicians on, at least most pop records. And I knew I'd be giving all of that up, but I couldn't turn down the opportunity to work with the Beatles. So I did.
No, I don't know how you would do that.
No, you can't really, yeah.
Which brings us to your book.
And this is actually kind of my story and my pictures, my photographs from that I took when I was in the band. Lots of very candid, kind of fly-on-the-wall stuff. Along with some of the live stuff that my brother took. But just, kind of Paul and Linda in the studio, and, it really is, and some of the sessions we did. I mean, we did a great session at Abbey Road for the Rockestra, which was like a rock orchestra. And let me see if I find well, this is my favorite one, actually. This is Linda at the B3, and in the background is John Bonham, Ronnie Lane, Kenny Jones, John Paul Jones. It's like we had The Who, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Dave Gilmour was there. It was kind of and Wings, and it was all like a rock orchestra, 5 guitars, 3 drum kit.
Wow.
That was pretty amazing. And we won a Grammy for it too, which was cool. But I think kind of my best and worst stories with Wings actually occurred within the space of a couple of weeks. We did a concert in London in December of 1979. It was a benefit organized by UNICEF for Cambodian refugees. It was concerts for the people of Kampuchea. And we did the Rockestra live. We gathered together, and more, not just that group of people. Dave Edmunds was there, and it was really just a cool bunch of players. And Wings we didn't do a lot of Beatles songs, but we did Let It Be. We did, a handful of songs. We opened We've Got to Get You Into My Life, for example. But we did Let It Be, and I would always play the guitar solo, on Let It Be. So we're doing it with Rockestra, with this whole huge band, and solo's coming up, and I look around, and I don't see anybody else is going to step forward and play it. So I did, because I was used to doing it. And, I'm standing there, like, with John Bonham and playing drums behind me, and Pete Townsend roaming around the stage. Not entirely sober, I might add. And, as I'm getting to the end of the solo, and I'm really kind of like in this transcendent moment where there's Paul, and there's this incredible thing going on. And I smell brandy fumes, and over here is Pete Townsend kind of looking over my shoulder. It was kind of it was a transcendent moment anyway. But the fact that, Pete was there was kind of like, okay, the devil on my shoulder too.